Hi, everybody. It is the guy with the bow tie checking in with you live for another Business of Benefits. To my right, I have Stacy DiMarco, and today we're going to talk about branding. If you're Team Live, throw a hashtag Team Live where you're located. If you're Team Replay, which we love Team Replay, go ahead and hashtag Team Replay and let us know where you are. So Stacy and I sideways met at LinkedIn Meetup ATL. Kind of got too busy to see each other inside, but we were in the same room. Share with the audience kind of what you do and why it's relevant to storytelling.
Okay, so I work for Media Frenzy Global, which is an integrated PR and marketing agency, and we help brands come to life. So part of that is, creatively telling how stories are told. So if you think about having a brand, everything that touches the brand is part of it's what resonates with your clients, right? So basically what we do is we help our clients rethink their narrative and drive attention to the narrative and help their brand become popular.
Okay. So with that being said, in today's day and age, I mean, we're a lot more on the internet. Would you say all of that is online, or is it a mixture of different channels?
Well, it's definitely a mixture of different channels. You know, if you think about traditional PR is more of the written word, right? So, you know, in a PR agency, we have creative writers who help tell our brand stories to the media. And so, you know, the written word is part of it, but we also engage through social media and, you know, website, content creation, you know, blogs, you know, ebooks, different types of content, creative content for our clients.
Okay, so tell the process for people that don't know when they get a PR firm. Do the company come to you and say, I want this one campaign, or do they come and say, help me, I have no clue what I'm doing?
Well, you know, that's interesting. We get both of those. I mean, we have clients that have, you know, a strategic initiative that's immediate, that they want, you know, it's almost project based. You know, PR is an interesting beast in that it takes some time to get going, right? You have to, it's not an immediate thing, because you have to, you know, when we onboard a client, we'll spend a great deal of time through a very detailed process learning about the company and helping develop the narratives that we want to pitch to the media. And that, you know, we have to find things that are interesting to the media and they'll take it and use it, you know, whatever. We do have clients that'll contact us and say, hey, can you get us in Forbes or Inc? And you know, many times we can do that. However, you know, the story has to be interesting, and it has to resonate with, you know, Forbes or Inc. or whatever media that we're pitching it to, and it has to be relevant. So we work with our clients to develop those narratives that are interesting to the media so that they'll pitch them.
Okay, so when you say storytelling, is it more so telling the story so that media puts it out there, or is it the story of the brand, just so people kind of get the difference in what storytelling means to you in this capacity?
Well, and storytelling to us means, yeah, we're trying to tell the story of the brand. We're trying to help the brand identity and make that interesting to the press and ultimately to your customers, right? So a lot of times we'll talk about the funnel above the funnel. You know, traditionally everybody talks about the sales funnel and how everything that we do drives business into the sales funnel. And so we'll talk a little bit more about what happens in the stratosphere above the sales funnel, right? So we talk about what feeds into the sales funnel. We've developed this idea of the funnel above the funnel, and that talks about how public relations, social media, and content marketing all help drive business into the sales funnel.
Okay. Is that a trickier concept for your clients to grasp, or are they kind of gravitating towards that very well?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, a lot of times when we have prospects contact us, or I'm talking to people out at events or networking, a lot of it is, it revolves around PR discussions. They want, the recognition in the written media and out there, and in the, sphere of journalism. And it's all well and good, but you have to have a great website, right? Because what that does is, if a prospect will read something that we've pitched to the media, the backlinks drive that business to your website, and that's how you get stuff into your funnel. So the website has to be good, and it has to be clear, and it has to reflect the brand identity. So it's kind of an all-encompassing thing. So a lot of times our clients will have great rocking websites, and we don't have to, have that discussion. We can just work on the PR and branding piece of it, and it just naturally falls into their website. Other times we have to have a more difficult discussion where we say, we really think that your website needs a little bit more work, and want it to look like the brand that we're developing for you.
Okay, so with that conversation, like I know your tagline says we innovate and disrupt the brands. Is that the only majority of your clientele, or that's just what you're looking for?
Well, we work mostly with B2B technology companies. We work with some B2C companies.
Okay.
They don't have to necessarily be companies that develop technology, but they have to be enabled. It helps to have them be enabled technology, enabling technology or using technology. And, our writers are very technical, and they appeal to that. We can appeal to that narrative, that audience. So that's what we do.
Okay, perfect. So are those brands easier, you think, to get the story out, or harder than the, not technological companies?
Oh, that's a great question for me, because I'm not one of the writers, but I know that our agency, tends to like working with, technology-enabled companies. I think that, some agencies try to do it all, and they're not great at that. You kind of have to pick, what lane you want to be in, and then you partner for the others. So if we want to work with a consumer brand, if it's something outside of our scope, we might refer it to, a partnering agency that we work with.
Okay.
And that's how we kind of work together.
Okay, well that might even resonate. You guys are trying to find your lane with your story. So your story is technology and innovation. Do you think a lot of times when you're talking with these brands and companies that need your help, that they haven't quite wrestled down, this is our narrative? Is that kind of the biggest issue, you think, or is it just there's no message at all?
We get both. So we have some companies that have a really good brand, and they're just trying to get their name out there and make it known, make it popular. And we can definitely help with that. And then we have smaller companies who are trying to break out to the next level. And a lot of times those companies have a lot of engineers, and maybe just hired a CMO, or a CMO and a creative writer, and they don't know how, they don't have the relationships in the media to be able to get their story out there.
Okay.
And so we have both, and we like to work with both.
Okay. And then the funnel on top of the funnel, that's a brand new concept you guys have come out with. So have you had any kind of results from that, or how long has it been in existence? First of all, how long have you guys been doing that?
Well, we're just kind of launching our funnel above the funnel program. So it's kind of a, it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a program that we're kind of launching. We're putting out, we put out an ebook, we're writing blogs about it, we're talking about it on social media, because we want to make known, what happens up here in the stratosphere kind of helps drive what's in the sales funnel. And PR and social media and content marketing all help with that. We also like to talk about, I just lost my train of thought.
That's
Sorry.
okay. That's okay. So we're going over some intense stuff here. I'll circle back then. When you look at your background, you've been, mom, engineer, analytics, lots of different things. So
Right.
to kind of switch gears a little bit, innovation is kind of happening right now. I think with companies having to go through this virus, they're having to get creative with how they sell product or making courses, selling books, all these different things. So you've been through that. So kind of talk about your innovation you went through, kind of going from momming into business world.
Well, I had a very successful career before I got married and had children. So I have my background's technology. I um, was a systems engineer. I helped build some of the largest networks in the world, some of the most innovative. One right here in Atlanta, which was CBI Communications. It was the first voice over IP commercial, brand in the industry. And we helped. It was actually beta. We helped build that.
Okay.
The lead engineer on that. And then, when I got married, I was really struggling with, because I worked a lot. I was working probably 12-hour days. I was trying to just, I could be a good mom and, still be good at what I did. And I had set the bar for myself and at work. So, lucky for me, I had, my husband made enough money and we had, saved enough over the years that I could stay home with my kids. So I felt very lucky for that. And so I made the decision to do that because I thought nobody could raise my kids as well as I could, I guess, basically. And
Yeah.
it's a very personal decision. And I know a lot of women who don't go that route, and I respect that decision just as much. I see these women, especially like the CEO and founder of my company now. She's an incredible mom, and she started this company. I'm like, that's really cool. I don't know how she did that, but she's really good at both. So, I did decide to stay home. And a couple of years ago, when I was thinking about my oldest was 16, she was driving, and it's a very liberating. You're going to be at that spot soon, but it's very liberating when your children start driving because you're like, oh, you got more time on your hands. So I was kind of thinking about dipping my toe in the water and going back to work because I've always really missed it. And I know Sarah and the CEO and founder of our company, and asked her to look at my resume. And when she looked at it, having a business that focused on technology companies, she said, I think you could do anything you wanted. Why don't you come work for me? And I said to her, I'm not sure I'm ready for a real job. I'm not sure I'm ready for a real job. And so over the years, we've kept in touch. And when my youngest one started driving, and the day after I dropped my oldest one off at college, Sarah called me and said, well, are you ready? And just a few weeks later, I'm driving to Buckhead every day, not every day, but a couple days a week. And I think it's really cool that somebody like that saw something in me to give me the, kind of restart my career. And, PR and branding and all that is not in my wheelhouse at all, but I understand technology and I understand sales. And she was, wanting to expand on that part of her business. So I started off part-time. She said, because at that time I was like, I'm just not sure if I want a real job. Let me just, whatever. And she said, let's start off, part-time, do 24 hours a week or whatever. You can decide if you like us and we can decide if we like you. And, I thought that's perfect. Who's going to do that for me,
Yeah.
So great opportunity for me to kind of get back into it. And I love it. I love the people that I work with. They're incredibly talented. I like going to the events and meeting with the technology companies because that's where I get excited because I love technology and I understand that. So it's kind of evolving as we go along,
Well, that's good leadership. I think that she saw you and kept holding on to the idea of you for, because how long was she courting you for? For a few months or a couple of years?
A couple years. I mean, it was probably 2 years we talked. It was my oldest turned 16, and then I started thinking about going back to work, and now, she's a freshman in college. So it's probably about 2 years. We know each other through kids. And so, she's just a pretty cool person in general.
Awesome. So that's a big change for you to go from the home to getting back into work. So I think, does that help you kind of with telling people story with innovation, because you kind of had to go through a personal innovation yourself?
Yeah, I think it does, and it helps me, I come to it from a completely fresh perspective, right? I'm not tainted in any way as far as, having any experience in the PR marketing world. I come to it with a complete fresh set of eyes. And so my perspective is, I think, kind of healthy to the whole process. At least I think so. I think they think it is too.
Okay. Well, do you think then when you talk to these brands that that's part of the issue with telling the stories or holding on to an old narrative? Like, this is what we said for years, this the story has to stay in there. Is that usually a challenge you guys have?
Absolutely. That could be it, or it could be, what they do. Yeah, they've done the same thing for years. When you talk about a company that's more mature, absolutely, we've done the same thing for years. Um, what a typical thing that we'll get is, one of the things that we do at Media Frenzy, which I think is really cool, is what we call PR health score.
Okay.
And it's this way of being able to show value and growth and return of ROI for PR and integrated marketing, right? Because a lot of times, again, it lives up here in the funnel above the funnel, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to say what's my payback on my investment in those
Mm-hmm.
types of things. And so when we talk about that, that whole process, we gosh, I lost my train of thought. We talk about that, and where was I going with
the health score? You said you get their health score, look at the ROI.
right? So the health score. So the PR health score helps drive all that, but a company will come to us and say, part of the health score is comparing you to two of your competitors,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of a proprietary thing that we run, and they'll say, we're really good at what we do. We're better than our two competitors, but they have a lot more press coverage. They're a lot more well known.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's an interesting process for us to go through to show them, if you really are better and you've been doing it this way for a long time, maybe we need to look at your brand identity and kind of reimagine how your story is told,
Mm-hmm.
and wrap that into some creative writing and content and social media.
Okay. Would you say that with everything going on, I mean, obviously marketing is going to probably change quite a bit in the next 2-3 weeks because of what's happening. But prior to that, would you say there was a certain channel that was the best for getting your story out there, like they had a slightly higher return than other channels?
No, I think it's a kind of a package deal, really.
Okay. Because you see these
You
companies that come up, we go all in social media, we're going all in billboard, we're going all in, direct mail. Does that even work anymore in your world, or it has to be a mixture?
So I mean, not from what you have to have a rocking website,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a great story, and you have to get it out there. And the brand that you develop and you decide you want to be has to be firing on all channels. It has to be. You want to get it out there in the stratosphere, and PR is really great for that because that helps drive business to your website. But you also have to reinforce that with your social cadence, and your content is kind of the glue that pulls it all together. And
Okay.
your content has to be the same across all those platforms.
Okay, that actually brings an interesting point. I think I see a lot of companies that have a web page. They have, PR being in news releases and all that. They have ads they put into paper and all that, but they don't have content. So is that a big mistake businesses are making, leaving that piece out? Because some of our business owners are older and they're like, well, I don't mess with Facebook, I don't mess with LinkedIn. That's not my thing. I'm not young like that. But is that a misstep to have that one piece missing from the whole puzzle?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you have to be firing on all channels it depends on how effective you want to be. You know,
Mm,
sometimes it's a monetary issue, right? I only have so much money to spend, so where do I spend it to get the biggest bang for my buck?
mm,
Um, obviously, I mean, from my perspective, it's a number one, you have to have a great website. You have to have
mm,
a compelling, you have to be able to draw people in and be able to explain what you do. I mean, a lot of these technologies, especially some of the emerging ones, are are so complex or so,
mm.
you know, they tend to reuse the same words to describe their businesses other businesses do, and that doesn't differentiate. So the website really needs to be really good, and you want to be able to drive people there by getting your story out there.
Okay, that makes sense. And a quick comment, we had Marcello, better known as Cello, saying hello from Atlanta. I'll be on Cello's show Monday, I think we sat down for. So, hey, Cello, thanks for jumping in. Um, so, I worry about this sometimes with everybody that, everybody's at home a lot more now. And I hate to keep having conversations talk about that, but it's kind of front and center. But I want to find a positive for that. So, a lot of businesses I know, they have a website. They've had a website for years.
Right.
But you hear some of these things sometimes that websites are dead because people look at social media and stuff like that. So, would you say that the conversation you mentioned about I have so much money to spend, should people start shifting some of their funds towards social if they haven't done it before, or you should have shifted somewhere else, in your opinion?
Yeah, you definitely have to have a social game. I think that's a great place to spend your money. Absolutely. Um, you have to have a website.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if you only have so much money to spend, I mean, you have to. It depends on what your goals are. If your goal is to, you have to get your brand out there in this,
Mm.
and social media is a great way to reinforce your brand.
Okay. Well, let's say this thing is going on. We're in day 10 or something of a 14-day close down, which is probably going to be another 2 weeks in conservative estimates. But how long do these campaigns take? Because somebody might say, okay, Stacy, my brand is suffering right now. We have never dealt with something like this, so we got to reevaluate and innovate our brand. How long should they expect the turnaround to be from we started on this, March 26th? We should see results on April 1st. Like what should they expect? So people don't kind of come in with a preconceived notion before they come in.
I guess I don't understand. What are you asking? What the goal is? Like, so we'll have
More
some
revenue. Let's say more sales.
right. Um, it can depend. It will take probably a month to 2 months to get. If you're talking about a PR campaign, it takes about a
Okay.
month to get that going.
Mm-hmm.
From onboarding to developing a program to pitching it to the media and getting it out there.
Okay.
Social media, you can start doing targeted awareness and multiplying any PR that you're posting, um, you know, in just a couple of months. I mean, if you get that started and get your PR going, I'd say 2, 3 months, you can start seeing
Some results.
some results. You should be able, and we can easily see the results based on Google Analytics and the way that we do our PR health scores. So for our branding health scores, we'll go through this process every quarter, and we'll be able to show our clients like a quarterly growth, quarter over
Uh,
growth. Yeah, which is really cool.
okay, so they're not talking to you like every week or something about how's the campaign. It's kind of like a quarterly check-in.
Oh no, 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 no. We no, no. Our account executives are talking to our clients every day. Every week they get a tracker. The tracker is really nothing new because they've been talking to their clients all week. But
Hmm.
the PR health score or the branding health score actually shows a realistic number of growth, quarter over quarter for our clients.
Okay.
We're with our clients all the time.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because we're ending Q1. Some people end it this week, some will end it Monday, whatever their fiscal calendar is, but we're ending Q1 now. So conservatively, you think anything you do with somebody should probably kick in halfway through Q2, or you'll see it really hit in Q3 is kind of where you see the results.
I mean, I think, yeah, halfway through Q2 into Q3, we should start seeing some results.
Okay. I think it's important because people are, some of these restaurants, for example, are like shutting their doors for a month. And I worry about if they just sit and wait the whole time that you're really behind. So I'm trying to make sure they understand that you can do something now, at least to get some kind of ducks in a row. So
Right.
when you come back stronger than ever, because that's going to be my hope is that when this is all settled, everybody comes back stronger than ever. But would you say this is probably a critical time for brands that are like, oh my gosh, we weren't ready for this? Would you say this is a critical time for them to consider PR and marketing more than they used to?
Yeah, I mean, if it's such a hard thing. I mean, if you're talking about a restaurant demographic, it's hard for me to speak to that.
Yeah.
But I think in that case that, it depends on if they have the money, which is probably not the case. I would assume,
Right.
that probably the best way to keep their targeted awareness is through social media. I think that would be the least costly of any. And thinking of creative ways to keep, even though they're, can't do dine in, to be creative with other avenues of generating revenue. We had a local restaurant here, they were selling steaks and ground beef and chicken through their butcher, so they were marking it up and selling it to the public to try to generate revenue while their doors are closed.
That's a great idea. Make some revenue somehow.
Something, right? And a lot of people are doing like drive-by pickup type things or delivery service just to keep their doors open. And I think that anything you can do with that and to get those messages out, the way I learned about our local restaurant was through social media. I think I saw it on Facebook. So I called them and they said, yeah, come on by. And, we couldn't get any meat at the store. So why
Oh,
not?
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So switching gears then back to technology. So it seems like when you watch the news, there's always a new technology. Everybody has a new thing, a new app, a new widget, something like that. So for you guys, what is your niche that you see the best results for? Is it software as a service? Is it a physical product? Like, what do you think is the niche you've had the best results with?
We don't, we don't have a niche. I mean, we have lots of SaaS customers,
Okay.
clients have, we have mobility customers, we have clients in app development. We have different, we're kind of agnostic on the type of technology,
Okay, got it.
all technology.
Okay. I always like to know because I interact with different tech companies all the time and just trying to figure out, who would be the ideal fit for PR Media Frenzy to make sure you guys are getting that result. So right now, go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. I'm going to send you crazy people. They're like, hey, I'm working in my basement making a new shoe app. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah,
So,
it's more been we don't usually work with like the brand new startups. It usually is a little bit more established than that and trying to get to the next level of awareness. So, 25 to 50 employees, we do have clients like that. Usually a better fit is like the 50 to 100 and above
okay.
type employees. And, they normally have a little bit more of the budget for being able to invest in these type of things.
Okay. So you have a team of people helping with this. So I know you mentioned you're not the writer, but when you guys are thinking of storytelling, what is like the first foundational piece? And this is good for a business, a solopreneur, consultant, employee. What do you think is like the biggest piece of the foundation for the story that has to get done before anything else can happen?
Well, that's a great question. So when we onboard a new client, we do a workshop. It's usually a 4-hour, half a day workshop that we bring the client in to our office because we want to get them outside of their physical brick and mortar. And we go through a very detailed process, a creative process that helps draw out really interesting pieces of their story. And I've sat through one of them. I was able to sit through one of them, And it was a really cool experience to watch how our PR director and account executives, worked with this client and went through these exercises to kind of develop the narratives for the stories. And then they take that and, they were writing on the windows and putting sticky notes everywhere. And then at the end, they were able to collect all of that information and actually come up with storylines.
Okay.
And ideas of what we wanted to, pitch to the media, and the content bank that we want to create, so that when stories are newsworthy or something comes up that's new in the world, that we can kind of hijack the news and get our clients some exposure. We all develop that through this workshop that we do, and it's just kind of a cool process to go through.
Okay, awesome. And Marcello had a comment. He said, "Great point, Stacy." So, you liking the information you're giving. With that, so how big is that team when they do the workshop? Just so people kind of get an understanding. I think some people think, well, I can figure out my story. I know how to do PR. I can figure out what's interesting about my brand. How many people are on that team doing this 4-hour workshop?
Well, it's usually, two of our director of PR, Nikia, who's amazing, and one of our account executives who will be like boots on the ground, working with the client day in and day out. And we'll usually have somebody else in there kind of taking notes and, kind of keeping track of what's going on. And so, yeah, we have about 3 people that work through that 4-hour workshop. And it's just kind of fun to watch the outcomes and see what happens after, they present it to the client afterwards. We work with the client to develop the narratives, and then we put together a program and we present it to them a week or 2 later after the workshop. It's just really, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they have decades of experience combined with those 3 people doing this. It's not like they're all interns out of college just making up stories.
No, no.
But I think it's important to know that, because I mean, the founder issue, when the founder creates something, they're kind of very passionate about what they created. So I can only imagine when you guys are talking with clients, that's the hard part, to say, let go. We're going to tell your story to help you because we're experts at this. You made it. Congratulations. Thank you for that. But we're going to drive it home like you need to. So should that be something to put people at ease that are like, I'm the founder, I'm the creative person, I'm the entrepreneur? Should that help them be at ease to know that they have experts helping them, that they've been only doing this, making storytelling?
I think so. I mean, I guess I don't really understand the question, but I feel like from a client perspective, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times our clients, they see the need, and they don't, they don't need to have Sarah in the room, to help. She's the CEO and founder of our company. She doesn't need to be in the room. The people that she's hired are the best at what they do, and I think our clients are comfortable with that. If we're lucky, we can get Sarah to sit through a PR workshop. And that's always fun because she's a lot of fun. But yeah, our clients are very happy with the people that we've hired to do that.
Perfect. Okay, Marcello also said, great question. Storytelling is key. And I agree with that. I find that when I'm training my agents, sometimes I tell them that the products and features don't matter. It's the story you're helping, the issue you're helping them solve is more important. So for you in your role, kind of describe for people that reach out to you on LinkedIn, what they're reaching out to you for. Are you the account rep? Are you the business development? When they reach out to you, what are they expecting to get from you?
Right. So I'm the business development person. I don't love that title, but it's, I'm the one who kind of helps facilitate the deal. So I am going to, a lot of what I do is, I'm networking. I'm trying to create relationships with potential clients, but I'm also the one who facilitates, bringing somebody in, qualifying whether we're a good fit for each other, and then getting the right people, to talk about the things that, are not in my wheelhouse, which is, the specifics on PR and, content creation. So I have to be dangerous, and I can tell good fit for our company, And then I bring all the people together at the same table so that we can move forward together.
Okay, and one last thing I wanted to make sure we got to talk about was is Women's History Month. I love everything happening with 2020 for women. I think it's long overdue. But from you coming from the, running the home for a long time, a lot of women might end up doing that soon because maybe their company doesn't come back. So they end up having to stay home, or the downsizing was too much to handle for so long. So the husband's working extra shifts or the wife's working extra shifts, whoever it is, somebody might be staying home now. So you and I talked about the Mom Project a little bit, to kind of expand on that for people that don't understand how important that might be in the coming months.
Well, I was at the Tag Summit, and I happened to be talking to this gentleman, and he said, "What'd you do before you worked for Media Frenzy?" And I said, "Well, honestly, I was a stay-at-home mom for 18 years, and I'm kind of getting back into it." And he said, "Oh, were you part of the Mom Project?" I thought, I didn't know if he was just joking with me or whatever. And he said, "No, it's a real thing." He said, "The Mom Project is this organization in the Atlanta area that helps bridge the gap for women who are trying to re-enter the workforce for whatever reason." And it doesn't necessarily have to be a stay-at-home mom. It could be somebody who's been staying home caring for an elderly parent or whatever. But they help kind of get you back out there. And the way that they do that, I guess, is sometimes through contract work or whatever. And I actually looked them up after I met this man at the Tag Summit, and I just thought it was very cool. So I posted it on LinkedIn, and I got, over 35,000 views and lots of comments. And also I've had moms all over the world reaching out to me and asking me questions about, how I did it, and asking for advice. And, I think my biggest piece of advice would be, I don't think you can make the wrong decision because it's such a personal one.
Yes.
But it's nice to know that there are organizations like the Mom Project that are out there. I wish I had known about it earlier. Somebody who reached out to me via LinkedIn also had talked about a company called iRelaunch, which is kind of in a similar vein, and looked them up. They looked great too. So if they're a couple little tidbits for women trying to bridge the gap between not working and going back to work for whatever reason it is, I think those would be two great organizations to look into.
Okay, perfect. So I put the Mom Project in there, and I had to get the other one offline so I can type it right. But for Media Frenzy Global, is it just Georgia clients for Georgia, or do you guys take clients out of the state?
Oh no, I mean, we have clients all over the world. So we're a small boutique agency, so we're not humongous. But Sarah, our founder and CEO, is British, and she actually started Media Frenzy in London.
Okay.
And we still have a small presence there, but we have a partner agency that has connections all over the world. So we do have international clients, but we do have clients all over the U.S. But from my perspective, I mean, Atlanta is such a up and coming technology hub.
Yeah.
There's a lot of business for us to do here, and so that's primarily where my focus is right now. And but we get referrals and leads from all over the country.
Perfect. Okay, well, I'm going to tag Atlanta Tech Village because I'm sure you guys are in Atlanta Tech Village all the time.
I love it.
Right.
I love going there. It's a great vibe, and it makes me feel at home.
I like it too. I mean, that's the first time we got to link to meet the PTO was there. So that was actually my first time being in the Tech Village. I'd heard about it for months and months, just never went. So I'm glad that they set that up. Go ahead.
In fact, that Meetup Atlanta was my first event in 18 years.
Oh, cool! You did it with the bang then.
So we talk about we were both there. We didn't meet there. I was there, and I did meet some people, but I was kind of watching and seeing kind of how things have changed in the last 18 years to kind of get my feet wet. So
Yep.
And, I wasn't really going full bore at that, but the next one I came to, network with everybody. I've become very good friends with some of the people that, in our pod. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yep, we all made some connections there. So I'm glad we'll just keep it going when the next event happens.
Yeah.
So Stacey, I'm going to be respectful of your time. I know you got other things to do.
you.
But if you could leave the people with a message that they need to know about Media Frenzy Global, what's that message you can leave with them?
Let's creatively reimagine how your story is told. Give me a call.
Perfect. And I will put your number on there so you don't get a bunch of weird calls. Follow her profile. Connect with her.
Thanks a
She'll
lot.
bet you. No problem. But thank you, folks, for another edition of Business of Benefits. We will see you tomorrow.
Bye.